The Trudeau government's second pandemic budget is on making life more affordable for Canadians. Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland's spending plan features multiple NDP priorities, such as dental care, building more homes, green jobs, and a tax on excess bank profits. That should help the Liberals easily pass this budget, even given their new deal with the New Democrats. Federal spending falls to $452 billion in the new fiscal year, with a deficit of $52 billion. Well, with us to discuss the budget is Elliot Hughes, Senior Advisor at Summa Strategies. Sir, welcome back to Forum Daily.
Thanks for having me.
So what would you say are the main points in today's budget announcement?
Yeah, you touched on this. So housing is the big piece. This government wants to be seen as addressing the challenges associated with housing. So you've got tax relief, you've got money for municipalities to buy new housing, and you've got money for affordable housing as well. The other big piece was to show and to demonstrate that they're a good partner to the NDP in this new agreement they have. They've invested a significant amount of money, $5 billion and change, into dental care. That's going to make the NDP very happy and make it very difficult for them to oppose this budget. And then the final piece that I was most particularly interested in light of the current events happening around the world in Ukraine and so on, is investment in the military. We see $8 billion primarily for NORAD modernization, so continental defense, but there's also money in there to get arms directly into the hands of Ukrainians, which is something that the minister and the defense minister have spoken about.
All right, Mr. Hughes, let's zoom in on these spending promises now. I want to start with housing affordability in particular. Tell us a little bit more about the promises around housing affordability in Canada.
Well, the government knows that this is an issue that is becoming much more prevalent across the country and impacting a lot more people. And they knew that they had to do something about housing. They see themselves as being able to have effect and help on the supply side of this. So they're going to provide municipalities with, I believe, up to $4 billion. The numbers are flying around right now, just in the minutes afterwards. But I believe $4 billion to municipalities, which will help flow that money a lot quicker and to hopefully lead to houses being built. We have a supply problem in this country when it comes to housing. So that's one area. The other piece is directly going into helping people's pockets when it comes to housing. So they're going to increase the home buyers tax credit, and they're going to give some money specifically for renovations to your house. Those things are going to be able to be felt at the ground level on the individuals themselves, and that's something that I think this government wants to be shown. They understand this is a problem, and they want to be seen as doing something about it and helping people directly.
All right, sir. And what about military expenditure? That's been a major topic with the invasion of Ukraine. We're also seeing NATO pressure on Canada for that. So what changes to the defense budget are we seeing?
The government has said they're going to set aside or add $8 billion to the current defense plans, which is called Strong, Secure, Engage, which might sound like a lot of money. But when you think that Germany invested 100 billion euros over a couple of years, $8 billion doesn't seem like all that much. I wonder how our allies are going to, frankly, how are they going to see that? We want to be seen as a key member of NATO and a key member of NORAD, obviously with the United States. But if that's the case, we're probably going to have to make some more significant investments. Now, the other piece that they announced today in the budget was a review of the defense default policy, which I just mentioned. Now, that's interesting because that potentially opens up areas for using some money on projects that perhaps were not going anywhere to reallocate that to areas that might be a little bit more pertinent in today's day and age. The policy was written 4 or 5 years ago. The world has changed considerably in that time. And so I hope to see that to happen very quickly and for them to be able to deploy that money just as quickly.
All right, sir, just about a minute left here, but NDP spending pledges, how did the budget address those in particular?
Again, the Liberal NDP supply and confidence agreement that was struck a couple of weeks ago that would see the NDP support the government. Part of that, there are some things in there like dental care. Dental care, I think, was near the top of the list. Today, the government made a big time down payment on that. $5.2 billion over 5 years, and then close to $2 billion ongoing. It's going to be very hard, I think, for the NDP to criticize the government on this budget. They're going to get a lot of what they want in dental care, and then there's some other pieces around housing that the government is doing, as well as raising taxes in some areas and addressing some tax loopholes. So overall, I think the NDP is going to be quite pleased. I think they're going to have to walk that tightrope so that those hardcore NDP voters don't get too comfortable with the idea that the NDP are supporting the government too much.
All right, Mr. Hughes, thanks for that insight into today's budget announcement.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Coming up after the break, we take a look at the world of investments and the recent rise of stock splits among large companies. We'll have an interview with Brendan Caldwell, director of Caldwell Securities, up next. Stay tuned.